Hello Year 3 and welcome back to your third week of writing, which means this week is our big write. And you are going to be writing another diary entry, but this time a lot more independently, and it is going to be based on Bill's new frock. So you are going to be writing a diary entry based on Bill's very strange but very exciting day where he wakes up to find out that he is no longer Bill, but is actually a girl. So as always, I am going to start with our do now. So our do now today is you have got a selection of sentences and you have got three conjunctions. You have got and, but, and, or. And what I would like you to do is to go through those sentences and choose the conjunction which would complete it. So pause the video now because I'm going to go straight into the answers, but when you're ready, press play and see whether you got them all. So here are my answers. So again, you can pause the video and check them against what you have, but I will quickly whiz through those now for you. So first one, I wanted to go swimming, but the swimming pool was closed. B, I fell over and bumped my head. C, would you like to go to the park or play on your bike? D, I wanted to go to the beach, but Mum said we couldn't go. E, I like to watch football, but I can't play it. And finally, F, I took my dog for a walk across the field and we both got muddy. Now, the second section of your do now is you had one of those conjunctions and you could make up a sentence of your own. So I can't go through that with you, but I'm looking forward to seeing your ideas uploaded on Seesaw. And remember, these are the kind of conjunctions that you can be using all the time in your writing to make your sentences more detailed and to join sentences together so the writing flows a bit more. So just a quick recap on what diaries are. So we know that they are accounts of things that have happened in the past. So you write about memorable events or things that you would like to remember. So because they've already happened, we write in the past tense, and hopefully you remember what suffix we need when we're writing in the past tense. If you can't remember, it is ed, but remember that doesn't always apply. Sometimes you have irregular past tense. We write in the first person because it's your memory. So when you're writing in the first person, just like in my picture below, you use words such as I, me, or we, such as I dropped my ice cream on the floor. You start with Dear Diary, and if you want, you can also date your diary entry. And remember, you all did a great job with this last week. You're writing as if your diary is a friend. So you're writing quite informally, you're using chatty language, you can ask your diary questions and really have fun with it. So what I thought would be a good idea and quite useful is to recap what we have read of Bill and his new frock so far. So number one, Bill wakes up as a girl. Then secondly, his parents don't seem to notice the change. So we know that Dad calls him Poppet and doesn't really seem to notice anything. And his mum just wishes that he wore more dresses before giving him the pretty pink dress with the frills and fiddly shell buttons. Then he has breakfast and he leaves to go to school, but he runs into mean Malcolm. And remember, he's feeling quite self-conscious and a bit worried that he's going to draw attention to himself with his new dress on. Number 5, an elderly lady helps him cross the road, which makes Bill feel quite embarrassed. Then 6, he gets to school and has assembly. Now they sing hymns, but then at the end, what the problem is that the teacher asks the boys and not the girls to carry the table, which Bill thinks is quite unfair. Have a think about why that might be. And then in 7, he's in class and he gets told off for his poor handwriting, but notices that the other boys don't seem to get as much of a nagging from their teachers as he does, and he realizes it because he's a girl and perhaps girls are seen to have better handwriting. Then he reads the play and he has no choice but to be Rapunzel, who doesn't seem to have any proper lines. Then he has the run-in with Martin and the football, which you did for guided reading last week, and he trades the football for the 1p chew, which he then realises is a penny sweet. So remember, he also gets quite muddy and dirty in this part too. And then number 10, they have the fiasco with the pink paint in class, and everybody ends up painting Bill because he's in the pink dress. And remember, he feels very cross about this. He doesn't like that at all. And then lastly, where we should have left off, if you're ahead of this, fantastic. You can also use some of this in your writing later on in this week. But we in Royal Holloway left off with he goes to the toilet, but he has the dilemma of not knowing whether he can use the girls' or the boys. He does settle to use the girls, but again, how is he feeling? Probably quite stressed out at this point. Now, I don't need you to write every single one of those events in your diary entries, but I did want to give you a recap of what you've read so far to give you some ideas of what you can include in your writing. So by no means do you need to write all 11 things by the end of the week. Just pick and choose what you prefer to write about. So today we are going to be changing the first paragraph in our diary entry, which is the start of our exciting day. Now, the thing I want you to really bear in mind is that this week you are writing as if you are Bill. So you are waking up as a girl and you are explaining what happened at school that day. So what I thought would be really useful, and I have got this linked in the home learning worksheet for today, is your box up, just like we do in class. So I'm only going to give you one section of the box up every day, so that is broken down. But today, the part we're going to be focusing on is waking up and preparing, so getting ready for school, which has 3 sections to it. Waking up, getting dressed, and eating breakfast, because Bill does all 3 of those things in the morning in the book. Now, the skill that we are going to be focusing on is using our noun phrases. Now, if you forget what those are, using an adjective before a noun. So yummy cold ice cream. And if you wanted to even expand that more, you could tell me how much. Lots of yummy cold ice cream. So I've also given you a box there for your ideas. Yours is a bit bigger than mine, but if you don't have a printer, obviously you can just make notes yourself on a separate piece of paper, so do not worry if you don't have a printer. So my ideas, knowing that I need to make sure I use expanded noun phrases, I am going to definitely make sure I use evidence from the text and get ideas from that. So I'm going to talk about the pretty pink dress and the fiddly shell buttons, because those are noun phrases. And when I am talking about eating breakfast, I thought I would use a word to describe that, and I've gone for scrumptious this time. So what you can do now is pause the video and either on your worksheet or on another piece of paper, just write some ideas and especially get some noun phrases in there of how you are going to write your first part. What I am going to do is, so pause the video, and when you're ready, I am going to show you how I would write my first section. So I am going to swap my camera around so you can see. I have got, to keep me on track, waking up, getting dressed, and eating breakfast. And here I've made a note that I need to include my noun phrases. So the first thing, as always, we are writing a diary entry, is to make sure that I write Dear Diary, making sure that it's I and A so that I don't accidentally write dairy. So Dear Diary, remembering that I'm writing to my diary like it's a friend. Dear Diary, you won't, I'm going to use contraction here, you won't believe the day I've had. And I'm going to use an exclamation mark there to show that there's a lot of feeling. Dear Diary, you won't believe the day I've had. So I'm going to talk about waking up. There's no other way to explain this, but from the moment I woke up, ... I'm using the ... there to give a bit of tension and suspense. I woke up, I was a girl. I'm going to use capital letters there for emphasis to really show that I was in surprise. Dear Diary, you won't believe the day I've had. There's no other way to explain this, but from the moment I need to capitalize there, don't I? Because it's talking about myself. I woke, I woke up, I was a girl. But I think I might go, I was in utter shock, to really show my surprise when I woke up. So now I haven't quite used a noun phrase yet, so I need to make sure that I use that. So that's why it's really handy that I've written that there for myself. But I am writing about getting dressed, and I know that the main noun in that is going to be the frock, so I can use some adjectives there. Mum and Dad, so I might talk about Mum and Dad not noticing. Mum and Dad, capital for Dad because that's his name, Mum and Dad didn't, again apostrophe between the N and the T because I know that the O has been dropped. Mum and Dad didn't even seem to notice. I might say Mum just nagged. Today I nagged, past tense, so I need ed. Mum just nagged at me to wear this. Now I'm going to have some fun with my noun phrases. Wear this shocking or this shockingly pink dress with the most fiddly shell buttons. And then I'm going to do big capitals, yuck, to show that Bill is absolutely not happy about this. So I'm just going to, as always, go back and read what I have written. Mum and Dad didn't even seem to notice. Mum just nagged at me to wear this shockingly pink dress with the most fiddly shell buttons. Oh, shell has 2 L's, and I think buttons doesn't look quite right, so I think that might have another T there. Yuck. Okay. Now I can write about eating breakfast. Okay, I had no choice but to eat what was luckily a scrummy. I know I was going to go for scrumptious before, but I can also use scrummy. I had no choice but to eat what was luckily a scrummy breakfast of, I did pancakes last week, so I think I'm gonna go for waffles, of waffles and sweet syrup. Yum. Okay, so again, as always, make sure that once you have written, read back what you've written to make sure that there aren't any mistakes, because I did think there might have been a couple, and I'm pretty sure you probably would have spotted it before I did. I had no choice but to eat what was, knew it, so was, that's a red word, so I should just know that from my reading that that's AZ. Luckily, okay, so luck has a curly and kicking, because there's a vowel there with the U, but also that E sound comes from the letter Y because it's an adverb of manner. I had no choice but to eat what was luckily a scrummy breakfast of waffles and sweet syrup. Yum. Great, so now that I've written all 3 sections, the thing I need to make sure is have I used my noun phrases. So I'm going to go in with my trusty pink highlighter and I am going to look for those noun phrases. I wonder if you have noticed them as you have been reading along with me. Dear Diary, you won't believe the day I've had. There's no other way to explain this, but from the moment I woke up, I was a girl. I was in utter shock. Mum and Dad didn't even seem to notice. Mum just nagged at me to wear the shockingly pink dress. There we go. Shockingly pink dress with the most fiddly shell buttons. Yuck. I had no choice but to eat what was luckily a scrummy breakfast of waffles and sweet syrup. So if I was to go back and read through my work, I have included 1, 2, 3, 4 different expanded noun phrases, which means I can give this over here a nice big tick. So there you have it. You have got the 3 parts of Bill's waking up, his getting dressed and eating breakfast. So I am looking very forward to seeing what you guys all come up with. And remember, you are writing as Bill now. Bill has turned into a girl. What happens when he wakes up and how does he feel? How does he get dressed and what does he get dressed into? And then a little bit about him eating breakfast. Have a good day and I look forward to reading your uploads on Cecil.